The account in the book of Acts of Stephen's boldness to preach the word of Christ is inspiring. We read that he was a man full of grace and power who performed miracles and signs among the people, and yet the story doesn't end the way we think it should. We read in Acts 7 of Stephen's death at the hands of an angry mob who turned on him because he was boldly sharing the message of Christ. The furious crowd couldn't stand up against the wisdom the Spirit gave him as he spoke. But the death of Stephen, the very first Christian martyr, didn't weaken the advance of the gospel. In fact, it did the exact opposite. His willingness to die showed his full allegiance to Christ. Nothing was more important to him, even his own life. His death validated the message of the gospel. If this was just a made-up conspiracy to gain influence and power, then why would one of the conspirators be willing to die for a hoax? Throughout history, martyrs have only increased belief and strengthened the resolve of others to spread the gospel even further. For the first 300 years of the church, persecution was normal. And unfortunately, in many parts of the world today, it's still normal. Satan's use of persecution and death have never been able to weaken the church's life-giving message of hope. Throughout the ages, the church has become stronger during times of persecution. And there's a unity of purpose and focus that comes in these times of oppression, which makes all other problems seem irrelevant and insignificant. Martyrs like Stephen have a special God-ordained purpose to further the gospel in a way that the world can't understand. This isn't to say that we should go out and seek death and martyrdom, but we would do well to soberly reflect on this passage and ask ourselves the question, how would we respond if we found ourselves in a similar situation? I think the honest answer is that none of us would stand fast if it wasn't for the Holy Spirit, who stands alongside us and gives us strength to endure anything for the cause of Christ. So, if you can today, take the time to pray for Christian brothers and sisters around the world who are living with a continual threat of persecution and death. Pray that the Spirit would strengthen their resolve to stand firm and that they know the reality of Genesis 50, verse 20. For you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good.